Good evening. Good evening. '50th Republic Day anniversary marked. Senior citizens celebrated nationwide. Pollution of water bodies affects crop production in the Ashanti region. Guinea-Bissau suspends Portuguese television and radio broadcasts. Good evening. This is the Republic Day edition of News Hour on GBC24 and GTV. I am Cornelia Amwa, and I have the privilege and honor to do the news with veteran broadcaster, senior citizen, and household name. Yes, ma'am.
And I am Vida Koranting Asante.
Yes, we are here in the studio with Robert Frimpong Manso, and he'll do the sign language with us. Yes, sir. The President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, is urging the elderly to speak out against the ills in society.
At the 57th Republic Day celebration in Accra, the President enjoined the senior citizens to offer a hand in the task of nation building.
Since the proclamation of Ghana as a republic on July 1, 1960, the day has continued to be a memorable one. That was the day the supreme rule was transferred from the Queen of England to the Ghanaian people. The day, by convention, has become Senior Citizens Day. 1st July is one exclusive day of the year when senior citizens confidently walk to the banquet hall of the State House in Accra to dine with one another. It is also a unique moment when the older generation mingle with top politicians, including the current president. All these celebrate their contributions towards Ghana's independence and development. The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, and his vice president, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, joined the senior citizens to mark the day. They went round to exchange pleasantries with the senior citizens. A retired director of social welfare, Madam Mary Amadou, assured the president that senior citizens are available to offer advice on any issue. She encouraged all Ghanaians to live together in unity.
Fortunately, Mr. President, you are a senior citizen yourself. On that score, we can rest assured that the nation is not in want of elderly wisdom and guidance. Beyond your age, we are all aware of your commitment to the Ghanaian project and how you have invested a greater part of your life on earth to ensure that the rule of law becomes a normal part of Ghanaian political life.
President Akufo-Addo, after commending the senior citizens for their contribution, gave assurance of his government's preparedness to support the aged in the country. He said his government is planning to extend the pension scheme to cover farmers.
Measures are being put in place to address the needs of key demographic segments of our society, specifically to set up pension arrangements for farmers in our major cash crop agricultural sectors like cocoa, coffee, shea nuts, palm oil, pineapple, and cashew nuts. And for members of small-scale business associations, like umbrella organizations such as GPRTU, Protoa, and Association of Small-Scale Industries, ASSI, and similar associations across the country. Government also remains committed to providing the aged with a freedom pass to enable you ride for free on all public transportation.
He called on the senior citizens to be bold and speak against negative acts.
Speak out and join government's fight against the ills of our society: corruption, social and economic injustice, crime, the illegal mining menace, popularly referred to as Galamsey, and the phenomenon of vigilantism and mob justice, amongst others. I urge you also not to fall into the well-known temptation of telling me what you think I want to hear. It will be equally temptation to tell me that I'm the best thing that ever happened to Ghana, and it will be even more tempting to tell me to ignore my critics. I expect that as senior citizens, you will not walk this road.
After all these, the president and his vice joined the senior citizens on the dancing floor.
1st July is an important date in the history of Ghana. It was on that day 57 years ago, under Ghana's first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that Ghana became a republic. Ghana has seen military and civilian governments, progress and challenges. But for many people, Ghana's greatest achievement remains the resolve to uphold the ideals of democracy while trying to improve the socio-economic lives of the citizenry. Here is a summary of Ghana's story so far.
On the 6th of March 1957, Ghana became the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence from British colonial rule. Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first Prime Minister, pushed further for the country to be given true autonomy with a full belief that the black man was capable of handling his own affairs. Barely 3 years later, Ghana gained the status of a republic, a totally independent country with full authority to pursue its own agenda, an agenda separate from that of the British Crown, which had ruled the country, then Gold Coast, for decades before then. A multicultural nation, Ghana has a population of approximately 27 million, spanning a variety of ethnic, linguistic and religious groups. According to available statistics, 71.2% of the population adhere to Christianity, 17.6% are Muslim, and 5% have traditional faiths. Religious tolerance is widely acknowledged as one of Ghana's greatest accomplishments, with Christians and Muslims living in peace and harmony with each other, as well as those who practice traditional religion. Ghana's growing economic prosperity and democratic political system have made it a regional power in West Africa. The country has hospitable relations with the rest of the world. It is a member of the Non-Allied Movement, the African Union, the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS, the Group of 24 G24, the Commonwealth of Nations and the United Nations, among others. It has also ratified a number of international laws which protect human rights of all, including women and children. Current and previous governments have strived for Ghana to protect and uphold its enviable reputation around the world as a peaceful country which provides a safe business environment for foreign investment. The result of this is that the country is home to many multinational corporations and institutions. Ghana is classified as a middle-income country. The Ghana Stock Exchange is the 5th largest on the African continent and 3rd largest in sub-Saharan Africa. The GSE was the 2nd best performing stock exchange in sub-Saharan Africa in 2013. Ghana also produces high-quality cocoa and is the 2nd highest producer of cocoa globally. Ghana is an average natural resource-enriched country possessing industrial minerals, hydrocarbons, and precious metals. It produces and exports an abundance of hydrocarbons such as sweet crude oil and natural gas. Ghana's Jubilee oil field, which contains up to 3 billion barrels of sweet crude oil, was discovered in 2007 among the many other offshore and inland oil fields in the country. It is believed that Ghana has up to 5 to 7 billion barrels of petroleum in reserves, which is the 5th largest in Africa. It also has large volumes of natural gas in reserves, which is the 6th largest in Africa and the 49th largest natural gas proven reserves in the world. Oil and gas exploration off Ghana's eastern coast on the Gulf of Guinea is ongoing, and the amount of both crude oil and natural gas continues to increase. Unfortunately, the country's energy supply has been inadequate to cater for the growing population. This has led to spells of power rationing, known locally as doomsor, in order to supply all the power needs of domestic and commercial users, while authorities seek for a more permanent solution to the crisis. Corruption is a problem that past and previous governments have battled with for years. The current Akufo-Addo administration has started work on establishing an office of a special prosecutor to, among other things, investigate and prosecute public office holders and politicians who are found in breach of corruption laws. In the area of technology, Ghana was among the first in sub-Saharan Africa to launch a cellular mobile network in 1992. It was one of the first countries in Africa to be connected to the internet and to introduce broadband services. The country has about 5 multinational network service providers, including Vodafone, MTN, Glo, Tigo and Airtel, which provide 3 and 4G services. Ghana has a vast river system with an array of tributaries, but illegal mining operations, locally known as galamsey, are a threat to forest reserves and water sources. A war has been declared to stop such activities to save land and water sources from further depletion, and this, despite some resistance, appears to be making an impact. In the education sector, a UNICEF Basic Education and Gender Equality report in 2012 found that with over 95% of its children in school under the free compulsory universal basic education system, Ghana has one of the highest school enrollment rates in all of Africa. The country annually attracts a large number of foreign students, particularly in the university sector. One noted product of the Ghana education system is Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe, who completed both his elementary school education and high school education at the prestigious Achimota School. Efforts are underway by the current administration to introduce free senior high school to pupils who qualify from the basic and junior high level. Ghana has a universal healthcare system and the National Health Insurance Scheme NHIS, which was estimated to cover over 12 million Ghanaian nationals in 2012. But the scheme is fraught with challenges, including the late disbursement of funds from the authority to the service providers. Those who have not registered under the scheme have to pay fully for all treatments in hospital, a situation known locally as the cash and carry system. Again, efforts are being made to improve access to quality health care, especially in the rural communities which are in most need. As of 2012, the HIV/AIDS prevalence was estimated at 1.40% among adults aged 15 to 49. Football is well loved in Ghana, and the national male football team have participated in many competitions around the world with a large following. The country also has a vast creative arts industry which covers literature, poetry, music, dance, drama, theatre and movies. Ghana also has a booming tourism industry with many historical sites to appeal to locals and foreigners alike. More investment is being sought for the arts and tourism sectors to make them more profitable to the country and the industry players. Finally, Ghana is known for its array of delicious local dishes which differ from one ethnic group to another. One of the most popular is the Ghana Jollof. The people maintain that Ghana Jollof is the best there is, no matter what the Nigerian counterparts say on the matter. So, after being a republic for 57 years, Ghana has come a long way and overcome many challenges. But there is a lot more work to be done to ensure that the people enjoy and benefit from the rich resources which Ghana undoubtedly has in abundance.
Some senior citizens at Wa in the Upper West region have called for an increment in their monthly pension payments. According to them, some receive as low as 60 Ghana cedis, a situation which makes it difficult for them to cater for their needs.
All the 11 municipal and district assemblies in the Upper West region held their celebrations separately. The Wa Municipal Assembly hosted 50 senior citizens who were feted. 25 of them received half piece of cloth each as recognition of their contributions to the development of the region in general and the municipality in particular. Some of the pensioners proposed the formation of a think tank to serve as advisory body to the Regional Coordinating Council in view of their experience. Others, however, complained about the monthly pension payments, describing it as woefully inadequate. The Regional Minister, Mr. Suleiman Al-Hassan, said the contributions of the senior citizens cannot be overemphasized. Mr. Al-Hassan implored them to continue to make their expertise available for the benefit of their communities.
In Bolgatanga, the day was held at the Regional Minister's residency. In attendance were retired military officers as well as past municipal and district chief executives. Also present were heads of various institutions, including the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Redeemer Vincent Dejo. The Upper East Regional Minister, Mr. Roxin Bukari, acknowledged the tireless contribution of retirees to the nation's development. He further employed senior citizens to put their expertise to bear and aid the government in executing its flagship policies for development. Participants were treated to a dinner dance that saw retirees singing and dancing to some old tunes. They also received pieces of cloth and other gifts from the leadership of the Regional Coordinating Council.
In Second-D, in the Western region, 300 senior citizens were honored for their hard work and commitment towards the development of the region and the country as a whole. The senior citizens between the ages of 61 and 86 included some retired GBC staff, Mr. Jonathan Debley and Mr. George Achirefi. The Western Regional Minister, Dr. Kweku Efriye, said government will ensure that proper policies are implemented to improve their health status. Some of the senior citizens proposed a special fund to support them.
The Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources has begun consultations with its partners and agencies to develop a policy framework for the new ministry. The ministry was created to specifically focus on environmental sanitation, an area Ghana has not performed too well in the UN Development Goals.
Although the country is believed to have achieved her MDG target for drinking water, available data from the water and sanitation agencies indicate that less than 65% of Ghanaians have access to potable water, while only 15% of households use improved toilet facilities. At the maiden meeting of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources and its partners and agencies, members lauded government for prioritizing sanitation and water.
3,600 children die every year from simple diarrhea in Ghana. And bluntly, until we change, not just make improvements, but change how WASH is in Ghana, unfortunately, I will still be up here making that statement.
Government is championing. The sector is ready. But is academia ready? We have been ready for many years. Now we are also driving change. The change is that we don't want to graduate them with MScs and PhDs to go and sit down. We'll bring them to you for internship. After the internship, they stay with you.
Moving forward, the strategic plans will actually work on resourcing the environmental health office to be able to move around and do the work that it's supposed to do within a very short time.
Participants cited lack of strong leadership and commitment as some challenges in the sector. The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Mr. Kofi Adda, says government is developing a policy framework to effectively address sanitation and water challenges.
Various players and sector agencies have their own forms of strategic plans and have been operating under those plans over time. But now we have a new sector ministry. We must harmonize and synchronize these activities together. The need for enhanced capacity for the new sector ministry, a reliable and timely database for decision making, all in line with the application of modern state-of-the-art and emerging technologies, are all relevant issues that need attention.
I will be very much waiting to read the outcomes of these strategic meetings. Not that it's going to gather dust on the cobweb on the shelves, but it should be a functioning and workable document.
The meeting is expected to draw ideas and suggestions from participants on operational strategies for the new ministry. It is under the theme, Strategizing for a Cleaner and Healthier Ghana, Delivering Sustainable Development Goal SDG 6, which ensures availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all.
A study has revealed that the water table in the soil around 200 mining sites in Ghana is heavily polluted with mercury and lead. The contamination has affected crop farming and water bodies. One of the worst affected areas is Agroesum in the Ashanti region. The project manager of Global Alliance on Health and Pollution, Mr. Bennett Nana Ekufu, disclosed this at a town hall meeting at Manson Kwanta in the Amansia West District.
The Amansia West District in the Ashanti region is arguably one of the bastions of small-scale gold mining in the country. Therefore, the choice of the district capital Manso in Kwanta for the Stakeholders Forum was not out of place. It is a crusade by the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, which focuses on the environmental impact of mining. It was organized in partnership with the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE. It was heavily patronized by almost all the key stakeholders in the small-scale industry in the district, including traditional and religious leaders, members of the Small-Scale Miners Association of Ghana, the Member of Parliament, assembly members, and persons with physical disabilities. Experts from various organizations made PowerPoint presentations on research conducted by them on the subject. The Amansia West District Chief Executive, Mr. William Asante Bediakon, commended the Media Coalition Against Galamsey for selecting the district for the public engagement, considering the widespread nature of small-scale mining there. A researcher of the Water Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Anthony Dua, mentioned irresponsible waste disposal, the use of harmful chemicals and other human activities as major causes of contamination of the abundant water sources in the country. Dr. Dua named the Bia, Birim and Ofin rivers as some of the major water bodies that have been polluted through uncontrolled mining.
We should not only chase after money, but protect our water bodies.
The convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Mr. Kenneth Ashigbe, explained that the crusade is not aimed at depriving any citizen of his or her means of livelihood, but to fight the illegality and negative impact the canker is having on the environment and innocent people.
Chiefs are supposed to be the custodians of our lands, so support the movement against illegal mining.
The project manager of Global Alliance on Health and Pollution, GAHP, Mr. Bennett Nana Akufu, said Agroesum, a mining community within the Amansia West District, failed the test on key environmental indicators. He noted that the result showed high levels of contamination of even arable lands in the community, making it unsuitable for food crop production.
The Kwiapim traditional area has installed Mrs. Patience Awopra Koto, aged 73, as the 23rd Queen Mother of the area. The Kwiapihima, who succeeded the immediate past Queen Mother of the traditional area, the late Nana Dokua I, ascends the Jankroma stool under the name Nana Efuanketia Obuo II.
Nana Oye II was the last to ascend the Jankroma stool from the Nketia royal family. She was succeeded by Nana Ikuasechibia II in 1951. After several years, the Nketia royal family had to present a suitable person to ascend the stool, following the demise of Nana Dokua I, the immediate past Queen Mother of the Kwiapim traditional area. The latest Queen Mother, who is the 23rd to assume that position prior to her installation, was known as Mrs. Awopra Akoto. Now, Mrs. Prakutu's stool name is Nana Ifwanketia Obo II. She is an educationist with diverse teaching experience. Her parents were Reverend Daniel Joshua Jekumreku of Akwemu Edumasa and Ohine Nana Elena Kusia Sabia. Nana Ifwanketia Obo II is a great-great-great-granddaughter of the late Nana Ifwanketia Obo I, the 16th occupant of the Jankroma stool, and the great-great-granddaughter of Nana Ekwia Oye I, who was the 18th Okuapema. She is also the granddaughter of Nana Ekwia Oye II, the 20th occupant of the stool. Each of these personalities contributed immensely to the growth and development of the Okuapem traditional area. At the installation ceremony of the 23rd Queen Mother, Nana Ifwanketia Obo II swore an oath of allegiance to Okuapeman to restore Okuapem to its glorious past with the support of other Queen Mothers and their male counterparts.
And then, Katia Ebusia Apa on the set, Okuapema.
Ofofro na wa ba no oba be tia adwuma no so sanyanko na kasa o hira okotese onya wadom sonko na kasa enu kan no onya wadom.
The acting president of the Okuapem Traditional Council, as well as the Kronti Hene of Okuapem, Osahene of Fei Kwesi Agyeman IV, noted that Okuapeman pledges its unflinching support for her stewardship.
On my behalf and on behalf of all the divisional chiefs of the state and all the chiefs and queen mothers, we all wholeheartedly and warmly accept and welcome you into our fold as our paramount queen mother. We wish you long life, good health, and prosperity.
The leader of the delegation from the office of the First Lady, Mrs. Akosia Newman, said that the Okuapem Traditional Council is an exemplary institution which has aided in the holistic development of Okuapeman.
Rebecca na Okako Ekufu Ado Anangu.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Ekufu-Addo, gives her assurances that she is prepared to partner in a viable developmental agenda.
Other dignitaries present at the outdooring of Nana Ifwanketia Obo II were some ministers of state and members of the diplomatic corps. For GBC24, Oferiwa Dakon reporting.
The Greater Accra Regional Disaster Management Organization has launched a new cleanup exercise dubbed Operation Prevent Disaster, OPD. The cleanup campaign will focus on the cleaning and clearing of drains in the capital.
Despite attempts by stakeholders to ensure a clean environment, the issue of sanitation continues to be a major challenge. Each year during the rainy season, most places get flooded due to choked gutters created by indiscriminate littering of filth. Also, the construction of buildings in waterways is a causative factor to flooding. The new campaign by the Greater Accra Regional Branch of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, dubbed Operation Prevent Disaster, is aimed at tackling sanitation in the country. The event was attended by officials from the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana National Fire Service, National Ambulance Service, the Ghana Police Service, and the Kantamanto Second-Hand Clothes Dealers Association. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Mrs. Elizabeth Saki, said the new campaign will yield the desired results if tackled effectively. She called on Ghanaians, particularly residents of Accra, to have a new sense of direction and commitment to preventing disasters and ensure cleanliness at all times.
Most of the disasters we face in those parts of the country are as a result of human activities and failure. We give very little consideration to environment, cleanliness, and personal highly disposed.
The Greater Accra Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Mr. Archibald Kobina, appealed to corporate and private entities to support the new campaign. He said his outfit would focus on the vision of the President to making Ghana the cleanest city in Africa.
Especially business for the ambassadors, you won't go rounds in Kofako.
The newly appointed Greater Accra NADMO ambassadors, Madame Efia Educhumwa Morosa and Philippa Befi, urged Ghanaians to keep their surroundings clean.
The Ghana National Fire Service has undertaken a fire audit of high-rise buildings in the capital, Accra, and says it is very dissatisfied with its findings. A visit to 3 institutions showed that even though they had the firefighting gadgets, the fire service cannot access the institutions in the event of a fire outbreak.
Buildings springing up in Accra are mostly high-rise buildings. Some of these buildings are 13 floors. Some years back, high-rise buildings were not allowed in areas like Accra Central, Airport and earthquake zones. However, these are the areas where these sophisticated buildings are now concentrated. During fire outbreaks, the fire service fears it would be a challenge to fight fire in these areas, so it embarked on a fire audit to check if these buildings have the required equipment such as fire alarm, serviceable water hydrants, hoses, fire extinguishers, and so on. The tour was also to test operability of the only turntable ladder in Accra. The ladder is 125 feet long and can only go up to the 5th floor. The first place the team visited was the Foreign Affairs Ministry, which is a 6-story building. As a dress rehearsal, it was difficult for the turntable ladder to enter the premises. On the premises, water hydrants were visible with some tagged on the walls. Each floor has fire equipment such as extinguishers, hoses and valves. The next place was the City House, which is a 13-story building. The turntable ladder could not enter the premises. The firemen had no other option than to block one side of the main road to enable them to complete their work. The ladder could only get to the 5th floor of the 13-story building. The question is, what happens if there is an outbreak on the last floor of a 10-story building?
It's not worrying because we advise them to put in things like sprinklers. When you're not even there, the sprinklers are able to reduce and to isolate the fire and even attack it before the firefighters come in. So if we are able to get to the 5th floor, we don't carry our hoses. There are already hoses up there, and we fight the fire from there. Even sometimes, if the sprinklers should work effectively, you may get there and the fire will be up.
The Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Mr. Billy Anaglate, emphasized the importance of firefighting equipment.
It is mandatory and obligatory for all high-rise buildings to have fire resistance facilities and materials that they use in constructing these high-rise buildings. It is also necessary for them to have facilities that will confine the fire in any compartment that the fire event begin with. That will tell you about fire-resistant doors, fire-resistant panels, and even the fire-resistant materials in terms of the ceiling that they have.
The Director of Operations at the Ghana National Fire Service, Mr. Julius Kunuo, advised contractors to contact the fire service for advice before putting up structures.
When they are putting up such buildings, we are part of the stakeholders. We advise on the firefighting aspect of it and how to prevent firefighting. The sort of gadgets that are to be placed in that. That is what we do, and that is why we have to go down to find out whether they have really done that. If they've done it, we give them time so that we go back to find out whether they put in all the firefighting devices and equipment that we have recommended them to do.
The Ghana National Fire Service is calling on the general public to learn the basic fire safety tips to reduce fire outbreaks. Beatrice Senaju, GBC24.
Hello, good evening and welcome. Time now for some business updates. I am Dorothy Ajman. In Ghana, there is a perception that pension is a preserve for people who work in the formal sector. So those who work on their own, including commercial drivers, traders, farmers and mechanics, among others, hardly make any preparation for the future even when they are financially sound. Thankfully, now there are a lot of products on the market that allow people in the informal sector to get on board the pension train. Edward Nyako takes a look at the informal pension market after the passage of the law 7 years on.
Old age is inevitable. Many a Ghanaian do think about pension when they are getting close to 60 years, and this has had negative effect not only on the individuals but the nation as a whole.
The pension funds that we receive as pension company, we invest again to the government. Majority of our funds, more than 60%, goes back to the government in a way of investing treasury bill. So you are able to develop the country because the government can then get cheap money to develop the country. Secondly, we also invest in private sector. So we give out corporate bonds, we give out money to private equity. So we develop in the development of the country because companies have now money to invest. Thirdly, also, we are able to prevent a chaos that will exist in 10 to 20 years' time if we don't do anything with the informal sector.
This is what informed the government to review the pension market in Ghana. Prior to 2010, pension products were tailored towards the needs of people working in government and the former private sectors of the economy. However, the passage of the new pension law has opened up the pensions market by including the previously excluded informal sector, which covers about 80% of the working population in the country.
Majority of people in the informal sector can do the work that they are doing. And we know that life expectancy is increasing. We know that as people are getting older, they need more money to take care of themselves. And we also know that people cannot depend on their children anymore. So if we are not able to bring the informal sector on board, a time will come that yearly thousands of people will run into what we call old age poverty.
Under the new Tier 2 and Tier 3 schemes, the growth in the size of the potential pension market provides an opportunity for insurance companies, banks and other participants in the financial services industry to operate either as trustees, fund managers or custodians. The management of the pension scheme has been decentralized from the state to include privately managed companies. Now, to ensure that the players in the informal sector are roped into the financial market quickly, some of the pension fund managers have joined hands with mobile phone companies to make payment of their pension obligations flexible.
85% of our workforce falls in the informal sector, and they have limited access to a pension. And the challenge is often the accessibility to a pension account. Often if you have to go to a bank to transfer money, majority of them will not go because they don't even have a bank account. Now, with a partnership with Vodafone Ghana, they can just transfer their pension contribution through their mobile platform. So it's easy for us to target the informal sector.
As at February 2014, the National Pension Regulatory Authority confirmed there are 86 service providers in the pension market. However, the increase in the numbers of privately fund managers is yet to translate to bringing more of the working population to the pension net. A visit to market and transport terminals in Accra, with the traders and commercial drivers are willing to part away some of the daily earnings, but said they are yet to be approached by any of the private pension scheme companies. One cannot play the role of a driver's mate for all his life, and therefore there's a need for us to invest in pension.
Many farmers or private workers doesn't have knowledge about it. They think unless you work with government before you can benefit from it. But even if you are a private worker, you can even pay better than the government can pay for you.
This implies there is the need for more education, but who should drive it?
How do we get these people on board? And before we get these people on board, we have to educate them. And I believe that after they understand, they will indeed come on board. And in the long term, it can also be profitable as a corporate trustee to target the informal sector.
Mobile money platform is growing at an exponential rate in Ghana, but it has been restricted to only paying and receiving money. But the full potential of this service is yet to be harnessed.
I was in Nairobi the last time, and there, the average farmer who uses mobile money to order a taxi, to order his food, to pay for his electricity, to even pay for his rent. So everything they use their mobile money to do. And I believe that as more vendors and merchants are coming on board to provide services where people can use their mobile money to pay for the services, people then will not just use the mobile money to send money and to cash money, but also to pay for their pension, which will reduce the cost in transaction. So for a lot of people, in sending money and paying for service, the commission that they have to pay on top of it, I think is high. But I think we will be able to reduce it if more people come on board.
Mr. Bediakon urged the youth in the informal sector not to wait till they are over 50 years before they start savings towards pension.
A time will come that you can't do the work anymore. How are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to pay for your health bill? How are you going to pay for your rented house? How are you going to make sure that your children will be able to finish that university? And currently, we are blessed that we have what we call a voluntary pension scheme. So there's no minimum amount. You just save whatever you can save. If it's 1 Ghana cedis, you put 1 Ghana cedis into it. If it's 10 Ghana cedis, you put 10 Ghana cedis, and you decide the pension that you get. Because what you put into it is what will be invested and given back to you.
Data compiled by Bloomberg has shown that since the enactment of the new Tier 3 pension scheme in December 2010, volumes on the Ghana Stock Exchange surged by 75% up to June 2013. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA, predicts that the increasing pension fund contributions will increase assets in the retirement industry from $484 million in 2012 to about $2.2 billion by 2017. Edward Nyakun, reporting for GBC24.
The Majority Caucus in Parliament has called for a full-scale investigations and auditing of BOST from 2009 to date. This, they believe, will unravel any misappropriation of funds and the alleged human error leading to the constant contamination of fuel at the storage and transportation facility.
Between 2014 and 2016, when the contamination of fuel products escalated, the average price that the product sold was 70 pesos per liter. As the price ranged from 50 pesos and 90 pesos, the sale price of the recent contaminated product at 130 pesos, which is 86% higher than what obtained in the past, is the highest value the nation has ever earned. Another untruth from people who have sworn to distance themselves from the truth and who think that by hearing woof woof they will court public sympathy and avoid any inquisition into their own past deeds. Notwithstanding, since the events of contamination appear to be playing out every year and they are all due to human error, we agree that a full-scale investigation should be launched to fish out the culprits, and if any of deliberation is found, sanctions should be applied. Having stated this, we would agree that the affairs of BOST call for serious investigation and forensic audit.
And that's all for this segment. From the business desk, we wish you all a happy Republic Day. We have more news coming up. Please do stay.
Good evening. Let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa, going straight to Argentina, where Argentine football star Lionel Messi has married his childhood sweetheart in his hometown in what has been called the wedding of a century. A civil ceremony for Mercy 30 and Antolia Rocoso 29 was held at a luxurious hotel in the city of Rosario. Wishing them all the best. That's all for sport. Up next is entertainment.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the art segment brought to you kind courtesy Cowbell. My name is Valerie Danso. The 80s and 90s were times when burger high life was a big thing. For those who were young and vibrant back in the days, here are some songs to refresh your memory as Ghana celebrates her Republic Day. The Ghana Tourism Authority has launched a campaign to promote domestic tourism, culture and heritage. The initiative is to encourage patronage of made-in-Ghana products. The campaign was launched by the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mrs. Catherine Afeku, at the Christian Bourg Castle in Osu.
Over the years, a lot of campaigns have been carried out to sensitize Ghanaians on the need to patronize made-in-Ghana products. The See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana and Feel Ghana campaign showcased beautiful made-in-Ghana products such as Ghanaian beads, necklaces, shoes, clothes, among others. At the event, Nanose, a Saperewa player, showcased his talent. A contemporary Ghanaian poet, Nana Sase, spiced it up with spoken word.
Nana Sase maswan timi me pese me kire mu niemu otru ne se me ene wo ye be yo man mapa se da onam wiase ba bia entati a won mo ne ho samrane ofuru rasunu mu a osunu ka ne widie mu nokore.
The national drama and dance group also thrilled the audience with a splendid stage performance. The Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mrs. Catherine Afeku, officially launched the campaign. She urged Ghanaians to create awareness on made-in-Ghana products.
The Ghanaian creative and cultural industries should be given the boost for them to operate effectively. Hence, we are asking and enjoining all of you to help us institutionalize See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, and Feel Ghana campaign. This is a unique brand to draw people's attention and to create the necessary awareness for goods and services produced and made in Ghana.
The entertainment desk spoke to some people present at the event.
I think we are still mentally colonized. So we need to come out of that mentality. We need a whole new reawakening of who we are and what we want and where we want to go.
Those days that we went to secondary school, we used to have what we call fanfare. This should be translated into all the school fanfares so that you introduce the children to things made in Ghana.
This segment was brought to you kind courtesy Cowbell.